Hi everyone, welcome to our PTE Plus online lessons. The topic of this lesson is the score criteria analysis for our reading multiple choice questions. So, as we mentioned before, this question type will appear in the reading section, and this section will be timed altogether. That means if you spend too much time on one question, you won't have time for the later questions. And also because that this question is not that heavily weighted, so we shouldn't spend a lot of time on this particular two question types. And also, if we can complete other sections well, then that means we'll also be getting some cross-contributing to our reading scores as well. So those are the questions like read aloud, which is weighted very heavily, 30% to be exact, and then also our summarized written text from writing, and also two questions from listening as well. Now, the scoring criteria for multiple choice answers are quite simple, but before that, let's talk about the time strategy. As we mentioned before, these two question types are not weighted heavily, so the recommended time for these two questions will be between, for a single choice, it should be between 1 to 1.5 minutes per question, and for multiple answers, we should be spending no more than 2 minutes for each question. Because, as we said, if we can focus on other questions and complete them correctly, then you'll actually get a higher reading scores, even though your accuracy for these two question types are not that high, right? So don't spend too much time on these two ones. And then also, this table will give you an idea for your required accuracy if you want to achieve, say, 65 or 79 or 50. So if you're aiming for 65, then you should be getting an average accuracy of about 50% for multiple choice, single answer, and multiple answers. And if you're aiming for 79, then you should keep your overall accuracy for more than 75% or more. Now, the scoring criteria for these two questions are quite simple. So the first one, let's have a look at the single answer. So apparently there is only one correct answer, so it is either 1 or 0. So you either get this one right or wrong. The trick is we shouldn't leave this question blank if we don't know which one it is. We should always choose one answer. In the actual exam, you'll be getting 4 to 5 options for one single answer. That means you'll always have a 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5 chance of getting the question right. And if you get it wrong, you won't be penalized. That means you won't get a negative score, right? The minimum score for this question, for this single answer type multiple choice, would be 0. Okay? Now, on the other hand, let's have a look at multiple answer. There is a new line in between, which is -1 for each incorrect response. Right? So we will get we will get 1 point for each correct response, but if we choose one incorrectly, we actually will be penalized for that. So in order for us not to get any points deducted, we should only choose the options we're certain about, right? And keep in mind that this question will be quite time limited, right? Because this question is not heavily weighted, so we will spend about 1.5 to 2 minutes on this question alone. That means we won't have sufficient time for us to make a really educated guess, right? So even if we're getting 1 mark for each of these multiple choice answer, in some sense, right? In some sense, it is already enough because, as we said, it requires a lot of time. It's very difficult and it's not that heavily weighted. So only choose one if you're certain. Never guess, right? Because if you end up getting one incorrect, then you will actually lose 1 mark, and that could be you could have chosen one correctly, and then the overall score would be 0, right? And if you chose a lot of wrong answers, you won't be getting a minus score. The minimum score of this question would be 0, right? Okay, so that's all for today's scoring analysis, and I'll see you in the next lesson on PTE Plus.